afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, welcome to the internet's most sophisticated wrestling podcast, discussing the weekly aspects of it all, right here on
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to the Bald Monkeys podcast. Christopher is here with you for another interview. The Captain Chuckles, is here. Hi, Captain.
How's it going? I'm hoping I don't lose internet tonight because we got a thunderstorm rolling through. So
we are going to power through no matter what. So if he disappears, we're still going to power through because we have Kasey Catal here. Kasey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this weather has been nuts. So if my power goes out, I'm sorry too.
I will sit here and talk to myself.
There you go.
We've done crazier things.
Amazing.
So we appreciate you taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and start the interview the same way we start every one of our interviews. We like to find out where the beginning was and what was young Kasey Catal like.
Oh, man, I love this question. I never get it, and it's just funny to think back. I was dramatic, and, I mean, you could probably tell that I am now, but I was such a ham. I was always putting on shows in my parents' living rooms, and one really funny story actually is I was trying to put on a show for like my whole family one time, and my grandfather, I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was like, oh my God, like everyone's up here. Like I need to put on this show. So I decided I needed to volunteer. So I took my grandfather and I'm like, hey, can you like volunteer? And he's like, yeah. And I'm thinking like, what am I going to do? I had one of those like old like 90s toy boxes, like the big like plastic ones.
Mm-hmm.
I put the cover of it on the floor and I was like, just stand on this. And he's like, why? And I'm like, you're gonna go surfing. And I like grab the thing and just like shove it out, and he just falls on his face.
Oh,
Everyone's
no.
like, oh my God, you're gonna break his hips. So like I was just doing stuff like that, like so dramatic all the time, like begging my mom if I was thirsty for water, like crawling on the ground and being like, water, like just over the top. And like I was such a handful, but it explains how I ended up like this. So
How old was Grandpa at the time?
old enough. Old enough.
Well, it doesn't sound like he broke a hip or anything, so
No.
at least nothing bad happened.
He's good.
So that's young Kasey Catal. Now, how do you start getting into wrestling? I know your journey's not quite the same as many, but
No.
when was your first memory of like noticing wrestling?
Yeah, so I knew like what WWE was like growing up. Like I knew who like John Cena was and The Rock, but yeah, Hulk Hogan, like I never followed it. Never watched it. My family wasn't into it. So I was living on Long Island, and my friends invited me to a indie wrestling show, and they're like, hey, you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, it's better than going to a bar on a Friday night. Like, let's go to an indie show. And I had so much fun. Like the coolest thing ever was Psycho Circus at NYWC. So it's like their hardcore show, and I was like, this is crazy. Like everyone's bleeding everywhere. There's like barbed wire. Like this is wrestling. This is so fun. So I like fell in love with it from there. Ended up dating a wrestler actually, and he was like, you know, this is like my thing. I don't want you to get involved in it, sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And then we dated for like 3 years, and the day after we broke up, I signed up for wrestling training.
There you go. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny, but yeah, I was never really into it, and I just fell in love with it. And he was so into like WWE, so we watched every pay-per-view, every Monday Night Raw. We had to be there sitting live, like we couldn't miss it. It couldn't be DVR'd, which pissed me off sometimes. It'd be like, can we go out to dinner tonight? Like, why do I have to watch this? Like, record it. But yeah, so it kind of just like threw me into this crazy world, and I've been in ever since.
Now, did anybody stand out as a wrestler that you kind of fell in love with as you were watching during that period of time?
Oh, yeah, I had so many. I love Chris Jericho, and he still stands as my favorite wrestler to this day. I watched a lot of ECW, and I fell in love with Tommy Dreamer.
Oh.
Like the coolest guy ever. Really look up to him. Yeah, like people like that. I love Natty. So there's like some people that stuck out for me, but it's funny to look back and see the people like I idolize. It's just so strange.
Well, it's cool. You can even say that the people you're idolizing are still around. to
Yeah.
this day. So you can not only idolize them, but stand shoulder to shoulder with them,
Yeah.
and maybe, luckily, one day be in a ring with them.
Yeah, it's cool. I've gotten to be in the ring with some of them that I watched on TV. So it's pretty surreal when you look back at it. It's like, wow, it's full circle in a short amount of time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But did any one of them stand out as the one that you like would peg as, man, I could be like her, or I could be like him, and I could be a wrestler?
Yeah, I think that for me was Natty, because she reminded me sort of myself, that, I'm not like all the other girls, like the model types and the ones that are in WWE. And I never felt like I would fit into that kind of category. So the people that were just like super rough and tough, who trained with the boys, who were still amazing and still entertaining, I was like, all right, that's my girl.
So and Natty's still going strong too.
Yeah, she is.
She's so good. And people like get so annoyed. They're like, I don't like Natty. And I'm like, well, tough, because I do. So
I have one question, and you don't have to answer, because it's not on our list of what we send out. But you mentioned Long Island.
Yeah.
Can you say where on Long Island that part of the story kind of was?
Yeah, for like seeing all the indie stuff, or that was in Deer Park. So that was like out Suffolk County.
Yeah. Yep.
You know it over there?
We are actually both originally from Long Island.
Stop. What parts? I'm going to ask you questions now.
I grew up in Oceanside, in Nassau County.
I lived in Rockville Center. That's where my mom lives.
And that's where Christopher lived.
My mom still lives in Rockville Center.
Stop. My mom too?
Yep. And my dad still lives in Oceanside.
Wow. Small world. I used to go to the Oceanside New York Sports Club. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
By Nature was over there. This is so funny. Wow.
6 degrees. There's
Small
always somebody.
world.
There's always somebody. So anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. So once you decided that you were going to get into wrestling, were you searching for wrestling schools? Where did you train? How did that all come about?
Yeah, so from that boyfriend, I knew some people in the wrestling circle, just because I was around it for so long. Before that, I met a lot of people. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go to his school. So there's one other option, and those other people were telling me, and it was Creative Pro in Long Island, and Kurt Hawkins, formerly known as Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers, and Pat Buck were the trainers there. And I was like, well, these people have connections. It seems legit. I went to a few of their shows, and I was like, this is so fun. Like, I'm going to sign up here. And I just paid my tuition online, didn't even know if I would like it, and I just showed up.
How was it training with those guys?
It was crazy. I was so intimidated coming in because there wasn't many females, and everyone was so athletic. And I was like, wow, everyone's really good already, and I'm gonna stick out like the sore thumb. And everyone's quizzing me, like, well, what do you watch? What do you like? What do you, why do you want to do this? And I'm like, I love it, and I want to try it, and let's see what happens. And yeah, it really tested me, but I fell in love with it so quickly. I remember taking my first bump and like just full on crying and be like, don't cry in front of the boys, don't cry in front of the boys. But yeah, like I fell so in love with it. I mean, I was the first person I practiced, last person to leave. Like, it was just such a good experience and a great community there.
That's all. You were a go-getter, so I'm sure that stood out. What was like the hardest part, other than taking that first bump? What was the hardest part of training?
I think because when you're in a facility with only one ring, when everybody's watching you and you're expected to go through the motions, and only 2 people can be in there really at a time wrestling, so everyone else is kind of watching and judging. It was really nerve-wracking. So I think that was the most nerve-wracking part at first. But yeah, I got used to it, and I was like, all right, this is how it's gonna be, just do it.
Now, speaking of nerve-wracking, some people out there, if you don't know her from the indie scene, you might have seen her on a little show, just like 2 million something viewers probably at the time, called Raw.
Insane.
How did the opportunity with WWE happen?
Yeah, so this is a crazy story, as all my stories are.
We love
Um,
crazy stories.
So we were at practice, and a lot of the people at CAP, because of the connections that our coaches had, we got to go and do extra work. So basically, like, you get to go to TV, you'll do like a SmackDown and a Raw. You may be like a doctor or in like No Way Jose's Congo line sort of thing. So that's what you
Yep.
expect going into it, you know? Like, all right, like I'm going to be in the Congo line. And I had broken my nose a few weeks before that and actually had surgery. So technically I was not supposed to be there. So I was putting like cover up on my nose, taking my tape off of my nose, like, God, like just stay in the back, you know, don't tell anybody. Had to get physicals with the doctor, lied, whatever. So I ended up going to extra work, and it was in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was going with Chris Statlander, who you know is now in AEW.
Hmm.
So we're like, all right, we're going to road trip out to Maryland. Well, we got in a car crash. Literally, we got in a car crash on the way there. It was storming badly.
Oh.
So as we were waiting for her father to come because her car was smoking, I had my phone out. My phone got wet from the storm and just crashed. So I'm like, great. So now we got to go to Baltimore and get there at like 4 a.m. And Baltimore is not the safest area. And we didn't know that at the time, but that's a whole nother thing. So I ended up getting my car. We rushed down. I brought my computer. We got up. I think we got to Baltimore at like 4 or 5 in the morning and had to be at TV at like 7. And then they looked at both of us at TV and said, okay, go see the doctor. You guys are going to have a match. And I was like, what do you mean we're going to have a match? And I'm like, I wrestled in like a month and a half. I broke my nose. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? You know, Brian wasn't there yet. So I was like, I don't know what to do. Had our match. They looked at me. They're like, you're going to wrestle Asuka tonight on Raw. And I was like, lie.
What?
You're kidding.
And I still like, it doesn't seem real. Like, it doesn't seem like the whole experience was just so crazy and so fast. And I was like, okay, what if I bleed? What if my nose like busts open? Like, what if they find out?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't wrestled. Oh my God. Like, it was the most insane experience of my entire life.
What's the like, you know, you being, you know, just coming in, and I said, you know, twice there, Christopher, I am so sorry. I'm going to try not to say it anymore. It's not going to happen. But what's the pre-show kind of vibe backstage? Do you and Asuka have a chance to, you know, talk about what's going to happen? You know, what's all that like?
Yeah, so we talked a lot, and at that time her English wasn't great. I don't know how it is now, but 3-4 years ago it was not great. So we had Sarah Stock was the person kind of agenting the match, so just going over it with us over and over and over and over again, because I was freaking out. And mind you, this was my third match like ever, and like I was very, very new to the business, so I was like, you're gonna throw me on TV, you idiots. Like, what? But yeah, it was really crazy. Everyone's practicing ringside, and it's very choreographed the way that it's kind of structured. And you know, you're looking for TV angles. It was just very different than what I was used to, even though I kind of did train at Creative Pro for TV and that sort of style. But yeah, it was just very specific and choreographed, and like I was ringside up until I had to get my makeup done for the match. So I was literally out there with her for hours by myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was it like walking out from behind that curtain, you know, for the first time? There's a crowd, like no one there probably knows you, unless like the people that you came with were sitting there. What did that feel like?
I remember coming out, and I was the ref was actually a New Jerseyan. So he was like around like Wrestle Pro and Creative Pro. So we're kind of from the same spot. And he's like, look around, Kasey, like look at the crowd. And I was like, nope. I was just like,
blinders. There's no one here.
I was like, tunnel vision. I'm not taking this in. I'm not taking this in right now. Cause it was overwhelming. And I was like, I just want to get through it. I want to make sure I don't get busted open on TV. You know, I was like, don't they find people for bleeding? I was freaked out. But yeah, and I remember calling my mom on Kristen's phone and be like, Mom, I'm going to be on TV tonight. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And then of course she fell asleep and missed the match. But yeah, I didn't process it. I mean, I still haven't processed it, but yeah, like going out there, I was just like, go in, and then seeing her entrance from in the ring and seeing her come out like that was one of the coolest things. Like, that was cooler than the whole match. Watching
awesome.
that from in the ring was the coolest thing.
Now, did you get any feedback from like anyone backstage or friends, from Asuka even?
Yeah, everyone was lovely, and I thought coming into it that people were going to be really mean just because they're like, who's this, like, you know, little jobber coming in, and thinking, you know, I was very nervous. And my stockings actually had a bunch of holes in them. So before I went out, I was like, great, I'm going to look like trash. Like, everyone's going to make fun of me because I'm not prepared. And one of the makeup artists said, oh, someone overheard you talking about your stockings. So they're going to come back with a pair for you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really nice. And sure enough, it was Alexa Bliss. And she's like, here,
oh, wow.
stockings. Like, everyone was so supportive, so nice. Got a lot of great feedback from Bailey. She was helping me while I was out in the ring, and she was like, yeah, like, I'm gonna watch your match, you're gonna be great, don't worry about it. I hugged Vince McMahon, which is the most insane thing I could ever say in my life. Stephanie, like, everyone was just so sweet and so supportive, and like, great job, kid. Like, so it was totally different than what I was actually expecting.
That's awesome. The stories are like the best thing, to find out all that, like, for a fan, for someone that's on this side of the TV. I always wonder what happens behind stage. Like, are people just, you know, separated? They're not even talking to each other, or like, is there a lot of interaction? So it's awesome when we get to talk to people that have had an experience like that, to hear, you know, those stories. It's so awesome.
It's crazy. I mean, even Titus O'Neil was so funny, because I was having a panic attack backstage, and I remember looking at Gorilla and seeing The Miz and Matt Hardy, and they were the match before mine, and I was like, I can't process this, and I'm like literally having a panic attack going like this, and Titus O'Neil's like, you're fine, just chill out, like, just go out there and have fun, like, stop worrying about it. I was like, okay.
It's like, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're making it worse. And then everyone was like behind the curtain, like, I'm going to watch your match. Good luck. And I'm just like, you know, there's no pressure. No pressure, guys.
Just don't look away. Look away.
Too much for me.
So a hot button topic that has happened over the last, I don't know, week or two are intergender matches. Now, you've had a couple of those.
A lot, yeah.
Just a couple. What's the difference between, like, is there a difference between working with, you know, a male talent in the ring compared to a female? Is there positives and negatives to either one? You know, what's that like?
There's definitely, and I say this all the time, and I want to make sure I say it right this time before people come after me. There's definitely,
we don't want that.
Yeah, it happens anyway. But there's definitely positives and negatives of both. But I would say about working with male talent, I feel, and this is just from my experience, I feel as though a lot of the times it's less competitive, because with women, you know, there's only one female match on the card, usually, if that. And if not, it's a whole women's show. So people are really trying to stand out because they're trying to get that shine. They're trying to get their name out there. So I feel as though sometimes that can get a little lost in translation with matches, because they really want to look great, and they don't necessarily work the best with you. Now, that's not for everybody. I've had some amazing female matches, and I'm a female wrestler. I love working women. Like, that's just what we do. But I will say that working with men, I feel as though it's a little bit less competitive, only because we're all working together, and it's more of like, let's all look great, because they're going to have a million more spots, and they have just more opportunity, unfortunately, than we do. But like I said, it's not for everybody. I mean, I've worked some amazing female talent. I love working female talent. It's just really, it's a give and take. Sometimes people just want to really get their name out there. So,
death matches. We've all been in them. I mean, who hasn't? Maybe Christopher.
He's like,
what? He's like, no, not me. What kind of got you started into doing that? And the inevitable question, why in the world?
My husband. No, like I said, when I first started watching wrestling, that's like a kind of what I was into, but I would never in a million years ever think that I would physically be in one. And then, you know, my husband, Brandon Kirk, he's a big deathmatch guy, amazing in general, but you know, that's his genre of choice. So I was around that a lot, and I was interested, just getting involved at first. And when I got invited to kind of join along in CZW, it just made sense joining in on his storyline. You know, he was in the Cage of Death, which was the biggest show of the year. And I was like, if I'm going to get involved, I'm going to do it big. I'm going to help you out because this is your dream, your goal. And I'll just try it out. And I did. And it was crazy.
And you kind of like it right now.
And like if the mood is right, right, like I'll have anxiety about it for 5 months beforehand. But yeah, I'll do it.
It's interesting. It's like you're creating this portfolio of matches where you've kind of done a little bit of everything, and you're kind of going through I'm going to try every stipulation. I'll give it a shot. I'll get
the wrestling
into it.
buffet. Take a little
It's
bit of this, a little bit of that.
little piece. But it's building that portfolio, and it's just interesting to watch your career and go back and do the research on your career, because you can see it morphing into almost the beginning stages where you were when you really fell in love with wrestling, with the ECW.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything kind of comes full circle. But that's really what I love about wrestling, is that there's so many types and so much to learn from. And I want to do it all, and I want to learn it all, and I want to experience it all. So doing the deathmatch stuff was like, you know, like little me being like, yay, like I get to do some cool stuff and blow up too. So, you know, it was just neat. It was a cool experience.
Now, there was an unfortunate Synergy event that you weren't able to attend. We want to touch on that briefly, because obviously it was a big match for you. It was a match that we were all looking forward to, in that triple threat match, but you weren't able to be in the match. What happened? How are you feeling now? And what's the plans going forward to kind of get back in there?
Yeah, I'm doing great now. You know, it was a rough couple weeks, but I'm good now. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of go back. My match graphic actually just dropped like right before we started recording this. So that's what I was checking on my phone before, to see all the trolls coming at me. But yeah, like it was really tough not being there. I was live tweeting the whole time. It was really exciting to watch. And yeah, those are two competitors that I was really excited to get in the ring with. And unfortunately now I won't be able to wrestle Ellis, well, maybe in the future, but I'll still get that match with TJ, now someone else. So I'm looking forward to just giving the fans what they want. It killed me to see everybody like, oh, I wish Kasey was in the match. I was like, I do too, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and this match will be bigger and better for me. So, you know.
The crown just seems like it's on the wrong head right now. It just seemed like it would have fit a lot better.
And the wrong bleach blonde hair. Yeah. Man.
Now, let's talk about just you as a person. You're an Italian. I'm an Italian. We love Italians.
Italian.
He's not Italian.
No.
It's okay. So we want to talk about growing up Italian, and what was growing up Italian like? Because I know what it was like, and it involved food everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So what was growing up Italian like?
So much food, a lot of loud, obnoxious people from New York. Yeah, that's like me. Yeah, my whole family's from Long Island, so I actually grew up upstate New York, well, Poughkeepsie, kind of upstate, to Long Islanders at least. Yeah. And yeah, like everyone was from Long Island, and we'd go and we have these crazy family meals. We had a membership at the beach club, so we'd always be at the beach with like those long tables, like just everyone obnoxious, be like, oh my god, this is my family. Like but yeah, like I loved it, and I still do. Like it's pretty, I love my Italian roots, and we used to like make pizzagana, like homemade stuff like every year, and it's just fun. Walk
me through a Sunday dinner. Walk me through the courses. Walk me through what's being served.
What would we have? Like a lot of antipasto. So for people who don't know, it's like a lot of like random crap put in a plate. Meats
and olives, and
meats, olives,
pepper, maybe.
Yeah, peppers, stuffed olives, and then you go into like a pasta, like stuffed shells and all these different pastas. Yeah, and then like every type of meat. It was just crazy. A lot of wine, you know, not for me because I wasn't of age, but my family drank a lot, like a lot of wine, a lot of Sambuca, just being loud and obnoxious, and everyone yelling in hands, and yeah, it was great.
Store-bought wine or homemade wine?
You know, we never did the homemade wine. I don't think my grandmother, bless her heart, my grandmother was so into like boxed wine.
What?
Hey, it's easy.
so into box wine, but and she
Okay.
loved whipped cream, which is really random. But she would always have like whipped cream with her dessert. Always lots of desserts too, like a lot of
Yes.
sugar.
Did you have the fruit course as well with the dessert course? Because there was 2 different courses. It was fruits and then desserts.
No, I don't even think we did fruit. I think we just
Yeah.
went right to the crap. Like, I don't think it was even like anything healthy. I don't remember anything healthy.
I was like,
you guys are making me hungry right now.
You're
Oh, yeah.
right. Like I'm on a diet. Thank you guys.
I'm sorry. All right. Last Italian-based question.
Yeah.
Is it sauce or is it gravy?
It's sauce. It's sauce. And I'm surprised that neither of you have like a really like crazy Long Island accent, because like mine's starting to come out right now. Like, and I'm just looking at the Mets hat and getting like frustrated. So I keep like.
He did it on purpose, I bet.
There's a whole bunch of Mets stuff back here. You get more frustrated.
He's got seats from Shea Stadium back there.
Those are actually from Shea Stadium right there.
My sister has them too. We're giant Mets fans, so I understand the frustration.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it. The accent comes out as I talk faster, if I get angry or worked up. You get me talking about maybe like Oreos, maybe I'll start getting hyped up, but we'll see.
My wife always says when I get mad or angry is when the New York starts to come out of me.
Yeah,
and it's
you don't want to see
bad.
something.
Yeah.
You get in trouble.
Yep. Same.
So what kind of hobbies do you have? A lot of wrestlers, wrestling is a big profession where you're basically putting all your time into wrestling, but you have to have an outlet. So what kind of outlet do you have? What kind of hobbies do you have?
I have a lot. Anything Disney. I'm obsessed with Disney and Disney World. We are annual pass holders. It's like disgusting that both of us, any time that we have off, we will go to Disney World or watch Disney movies. Like it's sick. There was a time where I would watch Moana every night before I went to bed, and my husband was starting to get really pissed. He was like, "You need to turn it off because I'm having really bad dreams about."
Just turn and say you're welcome.
Right? Hey, there you go. But yeah, anything Disney. I love being outdoors. I like hiking, surfing. Anything beach related is great. Yeah, I find most of my time just trying to just chill now, because the time I do have off is really precious because I still work like a normal 9 to 5. So any time that I have just to myself, yeah, it's really sports, the Mets, unfortunately, that sort of thing. But yeah, I just like spending time with my husband, my pets, and watching Disney movies.
Are you a hockey fan?
I'm not, but I was born into being an Islanders fan, so that's just how life works.
That's
but
okay.
It usually goes Mets, Islanders, Jets. That's usually the threesome.
Yes, but I converted last year to a new football team. Because I was like, you know what? I'm an adult and I was born into that, and I don't have to be a Jets fan anymore and do that to myself. So I'm now a Chiefs fan. Yeah.
I'm a 49ers fan, so we're not fans anymore.
Yeah. No. I usually pick it on like men that I would like always tell my husband, like my second husband or like my third husband. So like Travis Kelce, so that's kind of, and my initial is Kasey, so it worked out.
There you go. I'm a Bears fan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've the only New York team I've ever rooted for was the Mets, and I was like, to hell with you Mets. I'm going to be a Cubs fan, and that did not work out for a very, very, very long time.
No, I feel like if you're born a Mets fan, it's in your blood, and you cannot shake that. Like you can't.
No.
Yeah.
You talk Disney.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Disney movie?
Oh my God, that's so hard. I have to say Beauty and the Beast because it was my first ever movie in the movie theaters when I was a baby. Yeah, so I'd have to go with that, but I love Pixar so much, and I could watch every Pixar movie 400 times in a row and never get bored of it.
I myself am a Lion King fan.
Oh, did you like the remake, the live action?
I was hesitant at first.
Yeah.
It's different. I don't. Scar was one of my favorite villain characters, and I absolutely loved his song in the animated one. And we got to the movie theater, and I'm like, I can't wait for this part. And I go to start singing it in my head, and I'm like, you changed the words. What are you doing? And I got so mad. I still like it. It was very fun and interesting to see how they did it.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't change stuff, but
Yeah. That was a rough live action for me. I gotta admit. I was like, I
did you
wasn't
ever
there.
see the Broadway version of it?
No, I haven't.
Very
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
I was able to see it in its first run, and it was a lot of fun to see.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
But you know what? You have probably seen this, Casey. The actual show in the Animal Kingdom, the Lion King show, that one is
So good. That's one of
so
the
good.
shows at the park.
So good. Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not so much a favorite question, but being in death matches before, what has been your worst injury?
In a death match?
Yeah.
Nothing too bad. I have some scars on the back of my legs from when I took the suplex into the exploding barbed wire. The back of my calves actually got stuck in the barbed wire, so I do have like 2 little lines down my calves. But that was like the worst that I got. I haven't really gotten anything bad from deathmatch. I got a lot worse from being a manager. If you can believe it, I broke my nose being a manager, like bad, to the point where my first surgery, they couldn't even open my nose up because he's like, you're going to lose your nose. And I still need another surgery in the future. He like completely smashed my nose.
With
Wow.
a fist, with a brick, with
knee.
what? With a knee.
2 knees. Yeah. I got turned into a double knee off the top rope. So I actually turned into it and he landed on my face.
Oh, that's no bueno.
On the top rope. And I don't even remember getting to the back. And there's pictures of me just like out of it. And Tommy Dreamer actually was there and he came to the bathroom and he's like, look, if I'm telling you need to go to the hospital, that it's bad.
Yeah. If Dreamer's telling you gotta go, you gotta go.
I was like, on my way. And it was in New Jersey and I was living in Rockville Center at the time. So I had to get someone to drive me back to New York. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? You broke your nose. And she's like, they're just going to stick something in it and straighten it out. And then we're leaving. And the guy comes in and he's like, yeah, you need surgery. So we'll talk in a second. I was like, great. Just looking at my nose. It's crazy.
Favorite stipulation that you could pick for a match?
Probably no DQ.
Okay.
Just because that's the most fun for us. And I like watching those types of things, like Last Man Standing, which is really fun too, because you never really know when it's going to end. They tell really good stories.
Yeah. Favorite event that you've attended?
Ooh. I've attended a few WrestleManias. So, I mean, every time I go, it's really cool. And as a fan, like when I wasn't wrestling, which is so insane to see the amount of people and the magic and meet your favorite wrestler. It was just so cool. So I still love Manias.
Nice. We've been to one.
Which one?
Chicago WrestleMania 25.
25.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. Chicago. That's really neat.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun experience. We got moved down because they blocked out our seats.
That's what we did.
And we were on the camera side where the cameras were shooting from, like, I don't know, maybe 20 rows from the ring.
Wow. Oh,
it was awesome.
That's
so cool.
This is the secret I'm going to tell you. You buy obstructed view and you try to buy it in the corners from where the stage is, because if they build the stage too big, they have to move you and they keep it on the camera side where the extra seats are. So if they move you, you move all the way down there. We've had it done like 8 times.
Seriously? That is so smart.
Case in point, we went to Royal Rumble weekend, and when we went to the NXT event, it happened there.
Yep. Obstructed view. We got moved into the private bar area.
Yeah.
Like 15 rows off.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Don't tell
anybody.
I won't.
Favorite opponent that you've wrestled so far?
This was a tough one. I've had a lot of favorite opponents. I would have to say, I mean, still on the deathmatch thing, Jimmy Lloyd was one of my favorite opponents, only because he really tested me, like to a completely new level of completely out of my comfort zone. And he was on my number 1 to wrestle for a while, so that was definitely really fun. Another one that I really love working with is Vanilla Vargas, and she's from AAA, and just incredible athlete, performer. It was really fun to learn sort of like a lucha style, which I really love doing that sort of stuff. So she's another one.
Nice. The dream match, and I'm sure everybody asks you this question, but who's it against And what's the stipulation that you pick?
I get so nervous for dream matches because there have been some people, you know how they say never meet your heroes, and it's like, oh man, I have all these expectations sometimes when I wrestle people, and then I meet them and I'm like, oh man, that sucks. They don't like me. Dream, like, can it be like completely unrealistic, like that I'll never wrestle them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then I'll say Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho in a last man standing.
Ooh.
Because just because I want to beat the crap out of a tough Canadian man with long hair.
There you go.
Does he put you in the walls at some point during the match?
Yeah.
Like the real walls.
Not
this
not the
Boston
fake
Crab
one.
thing.
Yeah, the real one, and then I get out somehow and use his line salt on him and win.
There you go.
Book it.
Sassy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a random question, and I always have this question, and it's probably I don't know what the word is, but I'm gonna ask it. The figure 4 leg lock.
Yeah.
How easy is it to just turn the figure 4 leg lock around? Like, come on.
It depends who's putting you in it.
That's a good answer.
Very simple. Like some people like really like my husband when he puts me like in things while we're practicing. I'm like, you're gonna break my leg. Like, can you please like ease up? Because he's just a psychopath. So and then there's some people that are so gentle, and there are other people that literally like wrap your leg around 4 times. So yeah, it depends who it is.
Oh man.
There you go, Chuck.
There, I have my answer now. Because I'm always sitting on this side of the TV screen going, just turn your body over and you reverse it.
Or some people are really heavy and you can't flip them and they don't give you any like leave. So you're just like, trying to get over,
That's true. I never thought about that part. Yeah. Us bigger fat guys,
No. It's hard even when someone's on the ground and they're light to like turn their whole, because that's all on you. You know what I mean? Especially if someone dead weights you, like you're just screwed and you won't get them over.
Okay. Another odd question. Besides the double knee that messed up the nose, what's been the hardest bump you've ever taken?
There's a few. One bump that I took at Cage of Death. Well, actually, oh my God, they were both at Cages of Death. So this past Cage of Death at CZW, I took a bump off of the cage and I fell into a barbed wire board. And there was so much barbed wire on it that it was so painful. And then it tilted on a slant when it broke. So like I was falling down on it, like sliding down while it was still in me. That was bad. It wasn't even my damn match. And then the Cage of Death before that, we had a 6-man, 4-and-4, 8-man, I don't know, some big match. And I did a Hurricane Rana to the outside with Dan O'Hare. And when I did it, we were supposed to go through like a box with like beer cans on it and all this crazy stuff, and we missed. So we literally just went straight to the ground. That was
man,
really, really painful. Yeah.
That does not sound fun at all.
No.
Another random question. I know I'm just throwing out all these random questions. Christopher is over here going, dude, we give them a list so that they know.
Round. I'm ready for it.
They're all good questions though. December.
Yeah.
There is an event going on, and it's an all women's tournament with GSI. How the Garden State Invitational. Do you want to be in that so you can kick everybody's ass?
Yes. The answer is, well, I jokingly asked Colin if I could ring announce, and then I don't think he said yes, because I was just like, that'd be fun. Let me just like botch a couple of people's names. But no. Yeah, I want to be involved. I definitely want to wrestle, especially if he's going to bring in like really great women talent from all over the place, which is really fun. And I might already know what I'm doing, so I might be there.
Ooh, okay. Be on the lookout for that, everybody.
Ring announcing botching names.
Yes.
Okay, so I have no more random questions. I mean, I could probably think of some more, but I won't. We're here.
No worries.
We are at the final question. As I always say, it is the most important question. it is the cookie question.
Yeah.
Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
Are you on team single stuff, the classic Oreo, or are you team double stuff?
Always team double stuff. Is there any other way?
No, there's
If
not.
someone answers like regular classic, like who are you? Like don't trust that person.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wholeheartedly agree. And
Single stuff Oreo
you'd be
lovers,
surprised.
not trustable.
Isn't
Not
there like
trustable
the
people.
mega stuff Oreo, like where it's like really filled?
There's the thin, the Oreo thins,
Yeah.
the classic, the double stuff, the mega stuff, and then
Mega.
the most stuff, which is like it's utterly ridiculous.
Do you try like the different flavors of Oreos, like with the new ones when they come out?
Sometimes Christopher yelled at me. For Christmas, I got a thing of, or around Christmas, I got a thing of the carrot cake ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I got the carrot cake Oreos. And he's like, dude, no, what are you doing? I was like, they were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I try.
Love those. And then he brings like home like new flavors all the time, so we get to try them, and it's fun. Like looking through Stop and Shop, being like, "Where's the new flavors of Oreo?"
Have you ever tried the lemon Oreos?
They're so good.
Yeah, Christopher.
I don't know about the lemon Oreos. Everyone's telling me about the lemon Oreos.
You gotta be like in the mood because they're very sweet.
They
So
are.
like but I could down a lot of those. And the chocolate marshmallow ones, like chocolate covered marshmallow Oreos, are really good. Try those.
I just want my double stuffed Oreos and a glass of milk, and I'll be happy.
I feel that. And a Diet Coke. No milk for me, but a Diet Coke and some Oreos, some golden.
Golden Oreos.
Oh,
Golden Oreo, yeah.
Well, Kasey, we got through it. Thank you for dealing with all of Chuck's random questions that
Yes.
he came up with.
I
and all of our
appreciate-
regular
I
questions.
appreciate
as well.
They were fun. They were fun.
We've gotten to the part where it's your time. Tell the folks out there where they can find you, social media, and where they can find you going forward if they're just looking for Kasey and some death matches.
Yeah, so I just ripped my Twitter, so I don't have a lot of followers because I deleted it for like 3 months. So go follow me. It's Catal Kasey. And then my Instagram is Kasey Lynn with an E Kirk _. And don't add me on Facebook because I probably won't respond, and I only plug wrestling events and I don't accept friends. So do that. Don't be rude, and don't message me weird things.
100%
Public service
agree.
announcements.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Kasey, thanks. We really appreciate the time. We had a lot of fun. It was good reminiscing about Long Island. It was good reminiscing about Italian dinners. We appreciate the time you gave to us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
So go check us out. We are on YouTube. We have plenty of great interviews coming. We have plenty of great interviews you can go check out. Go check us out on WrestleJoy. This is the Bald Monkeys podcast. Don't forget our monkeying around Twitch streams that we have every weekend as well when we talk about just randomness. I think we're talking about music soon. That'll be in the past because this will be in the future.
It's true.
So
And don't forget to check out Kasey on all of her socials that I'll put up in the credits for all you wonderful people who are listening and watching.
go hit that like button, go hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.
Make sure to follow Kasey Catal on Twitter at CatalKasey. And she's also on Instagram. You can check out her page at Kasey Lynn with an E Kirk _. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Bald Monkeys. You can also check out our interviews on WrestleJoy.com. Make sure to subscribe on our YouTube page to watch our previous interviews or our roundtable discussions. Just search for The Bald Monkeys. Watch us live on our new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/The Bald Monkeys. And finally, listen to The Bald Monkeys podcast on Apple iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.